up, you guys? Welcome back to another one. If you are new to the channel, I'm Gold Pony, and today we are in the new 2020 Hyundai Tucson, courtesy of Jack Giambalvo Hyundai in York, PA. And so I'm always excited to drive Hyundai SUVs. Perhaps it's because I own one, the Santa Fe, and it has around 25,000 miles on it so far. It's been absolutely perfect for me. Averages around 26 miles per gallon, which is great in my opinion. So therefore, I figured I'd jump into Tucson once again. So what do you say? Let's go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. And so of course, there will be several different trim levels for the 2020 Tucson. First one being the SE, starting at $23,350. Value starting at $24,800, SEL for $25,750, Sport for $27,900, Limited starts at $29,050, and lastly the Ultimate, the one we are in today, starting at $31,700. And so that was actually pricing all for the front wheel drive setup. If you wanted to go the all-wheel drive route, simply add $1,400 to any of those prices, which honestly isn't that bad. Typically manufacturers will at least add $2,000 minimum for an all-wheel drive setup, so that's actually a decent deal. But so next, when it comes to the power plant, there's actually two different engine setups for the Tucson. First one belonging to the SE trim level and value trims. This power plant is going to be a 2-liter direct injected inline 4-cylinder, putting out 161 horsepower at 6,200 RPM, 150 pound-feet of torque, available at 4,700 RPM, power sent to front wheels or all wheels through a 6-speed automatic, giving you MPG numbers at 23 city, 28 highway for the front wheel drive, 22 city, 25 highway for the all-wheel drive. But then you have the other engine setup belonging to the SEL trim level and up. This one being a 2.4-liter direct injected inline 4-cylinder, putting out 181 horsepower at 6,000 RPM, 175 pound-feet of torque, available at 4,000 RPM. Once again, sent to front wheels or all wheels through a 6-speed automatic, giving you MPG numbers at 22 city, 28 highway for the front wheel drive, 21 city, 26 highway for the all-wheel drive. But so now, before we do any kind of fun accelerations in the Tucson, I did want to mention there are some driving modes for this one. By the way, that driving mode button is located directly behind the shifter, and so I did just put it in sport mode. And by the way, there are a few different drive modes. There's eco, normal, and sport. Essentially what they are going to do is adjust things like the throttle response, shift points, and actually the steering sensitivity as well. But when I did just put it in sport mode, it did immediately downshift for me, so it is going to hold the RPMs at a much higher level, giving you more power on demand. But so now, since we are actually in that sport driving mode, what do you say? Let's do a quick little acceleration here in our Tucson, and let's see how quickly we can get this one here up to speed. And there we go. All right, it's acceptable. It's certainly not the quickest thing in the world, and Hyundai of course has some other options if you did want a quicker acceleration, but really that is going to be enough for you to merge onto the highway or anything like that. It's just, I'm just thinking the Tucson could probably benefit from maybe a turbocharged engine or something like that. But nonetheless, to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. And so you will find, of course, 4-wheel disc brakes on the Tucson. And as far as the braking feel goes, I've had absolutely no issues in my short test drive today. So certainly bringing the Tucson to a very nice stop in this one. Touching on suspension and handling a little bit, up front, you're going to get an independent McPherson strut front suspension with coil springs, gas pressurized shock absorbers, and a 24.7 millimeter stabilizer bar. In the back, independent multi-link rear suspension with gas pressurized shock absorbers once again, and a 23 millimeter stabilizer bar. As far as ride quality goes, it's been absolutely perfectly fine for me. I wouldn't say it's quite as smooth as the Santa Fe, the Hyundai Santa Fe, the one I have, but certainly definitely no issues there. Ride quality has been just fine. As far as the steering feel goes, I actually do like it in the sport driving mode here. It is a heavier weight to it, and so if that's not your thing, just take it out of sport driving mode and then you got a little looser of a feel to it. But I do like that it does adjust the steering feel, and you can notice it dependent upon what driving mode that you're in. So I do like that Hyundai did that with the Tucson. Cabin noise has been perfectly fine. Certainly no issues with exterior noises coming into the cabin. So that once again is on point. And touching on visibility, I actually can see really good out the rear view mirror there. Sometimes the headrests are kind of a hindrance depending on how large and in charge they are, but really with the Tucson, that's certainly not an issue there. So that's also a plus. Did want to also mention that while we're on the subject of visibility, rain sensing windshield wipers will actually come standard on the ultimate trim level that we have here today. So that is kind of nice, because I do believe it is going to start raining later today, so maybe you guys will actually get to see them in action. But for now, that about rounds out the performance segment of this review. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the exterior of this beautiful black 2020 Hyundai Tucson. All right, so here she is, you guys, the 2020 Hyundai Tucson on this beautiful foggy day in the mountains, called Black Nor Pearl is what the exterior color is. We are going to call her Black Pearl, the Black Pearl from Pirates of the Caribbean. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and start up front here. Front grille is actually going to differ amongst the trim levels. Additional chrome accenting you can actually find on the limited and ultimate trim levels. Of course, you're seeing that additional chrome accenting with the bars across the middle there, as well as the perimeter of that front grille. So that's going to differentiate itself a little bit. To the sides, projector headlights you can find with the SE value and SEL trim levels. All trims are going to get automatic headlights, meaning when it starts to get dark out at night, they will turn on automatically for you there. So that's always nice. LED accent lighting you can find with the value trim level and up. LED daytime running lights with the sport trim level and up. And actually, with those LED daytime running lights, they do come with LED full lighting as well, so it's going to illuminate your drive a little bit better than those projector headlights. But fog lights can be found just below if you were to go with that sport trim level and up as well. But now go ahead and make our way to the side on this one. Roof rails, black roof rails, can be found with the value trim level and up. Chrome beltline molding with the limited and ultimate trim levels. You guys can see that towards the bottom of the windows there, of course. Rear privacy glass is going to come standard for all trim levels. Body colored power adjustable side mirrors will come with all trim levels as well. But if you go with the value trim, those side mirrors will come heated. And if you go with the limited or ultimate, they will come with integrated turn signals as well. So that's definitely nice. Taking a look down at the wheel setup, 17-inch alloys will come with the SE and value trims. 18-inch alloys with the SEL Limited and Ultimate. That, of course, is what you're looking at right now. And if you went with the sport trim level, of course, with it being a little sportier, they are upsized once again to 19-inch alloy wheels there. And so, but now making our way to the back of the Tucson, you guys can see that shark fin antenna found up top there. Just below that, rear spoiler with an integrated brake light. Rear window wiper also back there. LED taillights can be had with the sport, limited, or ultimate trim levels. Of course, that is what you guys are looking at right now. And just below it all, there is a single exhaust setup, no matter which trim that you actually go with. However, it will be tucked away with the 2-liter, and with the 2.4-liter, you're going to find dual chrome tips. So that, of course, is what you guys are looking at right now. So as always, here is that exhaust clip. All right, so now since we are around back of the Tucson, there are a few different ways you can go about opening that rear lift gate. There actually is a button on the key fob. Simply press that if you like. That's one way. There's also a button by the driver's side left knee. That is the second way. And there's actually a hands-free power lift gate if you were to go with the Sport, Limited, or Ultimate trim. And so, of course, we do have that today. Once opened up, cargo capacity is going to come in at an even 31 cubic feet. If that was not enough space, of course, the rear seats do fold down, bumping that up to 61.9 cubic feet. And for comparison's sake, the Mazda CX-5 comes in at 59.6 cubic feet. So wanted to mention that because the Tucson is a pretty similar shape to the CX-5. A lot of the dimensions on the interior are going to be pretty much the same, so I did want to mention that. But in-floor storage can be had in that cargo area as well. That's always nice. And there is a 12-volt power outlet back there as well. Then making our way up to the rear legroom, that is going to come in at 38.2 inches, which actually is a good bit. For reference, I'm an even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I have back there. For comparison's sake, once again, the Mazda CX-5 comes in a little bit more at 39.6 inches there. So essentially it's kind of the same, but a little bit more with the CX-5. But those rear passengers will also find a rear center armrest with cup holders for all trim levels actually across the board. And if you wanted rear ventilation for those rear passengers, you will be able to find that with the SEL trim level and up. And now making our way to the front seats, cloth surfaces will come with the SE, Value, SEL, and Sport trim levels. leather surfaces with the limited and ultimate trims. Manually adjustable seats will come with the SE, whereas 8-way power adjustable driver's seat will come with the value trim level and up. And by the way, that will come with power lumbar adjustment as well. Value trim and up is also going to give you heated front seats, and if you went with the ultimate, you will also find ventilated front seats, so it's always nice. But taking a look now at the steering wheel, it is tilt and telescoping for all trim levels. It will come leather wrapped for the sport, limited, and ultimate trims, and it will come actually heated as well for the super cold days in PA like today. If you were to go with the limited or ultimate trim levels, that's how you're going to get that heated steering wheel. But let's now go ahead and make our way to the startup, and let me first start by showing you guys the key here. You do have your Hyundai logo on the one side, and when you flip it around, you have lock, unlock, and getting that button to pop the rear hatch. But it is actually all keyless entry, so if you wanted to, simply just keep the key in your pocket. There's a little button on the door handles there, so simply press that to lock and unlock this one. And so once inside, simply just put your foot on the brake and press that engine start button located just by the driver's right knee there. And so, but then once started up, tachometer is on your left, speedometer is on your right, and there's a digital display front and center there. To control what is on that digital display, simply use the steering wheel mounted controls on the right side there, but that's going to give you a ton of different information, like your tire pressure, for instance, all-wheel drive status. It's going to be some safety features, trip A, trip B. You can display a digital speedometer up there if you wanted to as well. It's going to be a compass and a couple other things you could check out, of course, as well. But then make your way to overall interior quality. First thing I noticed when I got in this particular Tucson is the panoramic sunroof, and it is massive. It goes way into the rear passenger seat, so definitely a huge fan of that, letting in so much more light for this video, for instance. But that is actually just going to come with the ultimate trim level that we have today. But overhead sunglass holder will come standard across the board. Dual zone climate control will come with the SEL trim level and up. We of course also have home link controls found on the rear view mirror for up to 3 different garage doors. That's always convenient, so you don't have the garage door opener rattling on the sun visor. It's always a plus. I do like the contrasting colors in this particular Tucson that we have today. You could of course go with a couple different interior color options, but I do like the contrast black colors with this darker tan, and it's actually definitely a very high-end look to it, so I do appreciate that. Just in front of the shifter there, you actually have a wireless phone charger as well for our ultimate trim level, at least. 2 12-volt power outlets, USB charging port, auxiliary port as well. Just behind that, you have a little bit of storage space, dual cup holders, and of course, within your center armrest there between the driver and passenger, you have a ton of storage area as well as a little cubby area up top there as well. So all in all, the interior quality, at least of our very top trim level that we have today, is really, really nice. We'll say even just above the passenger side glove box, it is a soft touch stitched leather as well. So a very high-end finish actually to this particular Tucson. So I'm definitely a fan there. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the tech display on this Tucson. 7-inch color touchscreen display is going to come with all trim levels but the ultimate. This particular trim level that we have today is going to give you an 8-inch color touchscreen display, but there really isn't much of a difference though besides the size. Honestly, you're still going to get, regardless of which size screen you go with, Bluetooth and audio streaming, as well as Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, even on the bottom trim level. And that Android Auto and Apple CarPlay is nice because that means if you have a smartphone, simply hook it up to the Tucson, and therefore you have free navigation up on that tech display, as well as the ability to like and dislike your Pandora songs, and there's a couple other compatible apps as well. However, that 8-inch color touchscreen display is also going to come with a factory navigation system, which quite honestly you don't need if you have a smartphone anyways. You can also check out your climate control information up there, as well as your radio settings. And by the way, when it comes to the sound system, you will find 6 speakers with the SE value and SEL trim levels, 8 speakers if you were to go with the Sport, Limited, or Ultimate. And by the way, that 8-speaker sound system, that is going to come with the subwoofer as well. So I think you guys know what we have to do next. We do have the 8-speaker sound system today, so what do you say? Let's go ahead and turn on the radio, see what we got playing this morning, and let's test out the clarity of this one. Ton of bass. You can certainly tell there's a subwoofer in this thing, but clarity is actually on point as well, and really there's speakers everywhere in this thing. 8 speakers is definitely a decent amount, so sound system is definitely on point, at least if you were to go with one of those 3 trim levels, Sport, Limited, or Ultimate, so I can vouch for that one. Last thing on the tech display I wanted to mention to you guys is when, of course, you do put the Tucson in reverse, you will find a rear view camera for every single trim level. However, if you went with the Limited or Ultimate, you will actually also find a surround view camera, or 360-degree monitor, I should say, with several different view options as well, including just behind it. You can kind of look to the left of the Tucson, to the right of the Tucson, and then, of course, all the way onto the right, you do have that surround view monitor. But that, of course, is going to lead us into safety. And so first thing I always like to mention when it comes to safety, if the vehicle actually won this award, is this one did. This is an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus, the very highest designation by IIHS. So you know this thing is safe to start. Front side curtain airbags will come standard. Latch, of course, being lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats in the back there. Rear child door locks can also be found back there, as well as a tire pressure monitoring system. But some of the more exciting advanced safety features that you can find on the Tucson for all trim levels actually include a driver attention warning system, lane keep assist, and forward collision avoidance assist. Then, if you went with the value trim level and up, that is actually going to add a blind spot monitoring system with rear cross traffic alert, being the little car icons in your side mirrors, so you don't go turning into anybody in your blind spot. Lastly, the Ultimate trim that we have today is also going to add a forward collision avoidance assist system with pedestrian detection. So, but that is about it for this one, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow me on social media at the bottom of the screen there if you like. Be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification button if you're into new car reviews. That is what we do here on this channel after all. Do appreciate you guys watching more than you know, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Stay gold.